Hello, everybody. We are back with yet another masterclass, and the guest for today here is our good friend Bernardo Fernandez. Let me center you a little bit better in that picture there. Um, as you all know, Bernardo is the OG influencer on social media for the game of hockey with the old account of Self Pass. Unfortunately, it's no longer there, but. Yeah, the stuff that he brought there was amazing and really broke open the game of hockey on social media. So that was a very cool period of time. But yeah, what you maybe do not know is that Bernardo was also one of the co-founders of this very platform. So we started as a platform where we would do hockey coach conferences many years ago, 2016, 2017, something like that. So
Yeah.
that's what grew into what today is called the hockeysite.com. So we are very happy to have Bernardo with us once more, talking about, yeah, probably his favorite part of the game of hockey, indoor hockey. um, Bernardo, so you were at the Indoor World Cup. You were on the coaching staff for Croatia. You have a past, obviously, as the head coach as well for the indoor team of Portugal. You've been to European Championships. You've been to World Championships. This one was a cool World Championship in a not so obvious location, maybe with Croatia. Uh, but yeah, other than the location, what are the lessons that we can learn from this indoor World Cup? The floor is all yours, my friend. Let's talk about indoor hockey.
Hey, Ernst, thank you. First of all, thank you for the introduction. Indeed, we started this project a couple of years ago. I remember we had our first conference in Oranje Road, already
Yeah,
Oranje Road,
yeah,
right
yeah.
then. So it's cool. It's cool to be here, and of course, it's cool to talk about indoor hockey. That, as you know, it's something that I love and I support a lot. And yeah, looking forward to do that. I just realized some moments ago before I started that it's still I'm still proud being a Portuguese guy where hockey is so small, and particularly in indoor. I kind of I've done it all in terms of competitions. Like I coach in the Bundesliga, and I coach in several European club and national team competitions. And now the World Cup, of course, it's something. It's the most special event. So
Hmm.
I'm proud of myself about that. So, but let's go. Let's go to the presentation, and let me know if there's any issue or any question. I would suggest maybe the question more towards the end because I have a lot to share.
Exactly.
And yeah, but if anything, if you need to interrupt me, feel free to. So I
Exactly.
will
So
share
let me
my screen.
remind the audience who is here already. Bring on your questions the moment you think of them, because otherwise you will forget if Bernardo starts talking about different topics and different subjects. So the moment you have a question, the moment you have a comment, if there's something you agree with or disagree with what Bernardo was saying, just launch it in the comments immediately, and we will get to it at the end when there's the Q&A. So Bernardo, take it away.
All right.
Let me
Can you
see.
see it?
I'm seeing your screen. Let me add it. Let me add it here. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will go further. So, well, this is me, Bernardo Fernandes. I'm Portuguese. I've been an international coach for a while, and I thought it will be fun or cool to have also to show my own experience during this World Cup in maybe a couple of different pictures. So this is, of course, me while supporting the staff from Croatia. This is with the staff in our daily routine in a very cold water. Every morning we would go for a cold plunge there, and I think it's also part of such a competition that you have these routines and you spend so much time with the staff. Which so it's also important that you have a good connection outside the hockey pitch. Passion, action, in the zone, whatever you want to say it. And then I think this also describes what more than 20 days involved in this process, in the preparation during the competition. I think it asks a lot of energy. It drains you, and was me some moments before I fly back home to Portugal. Relieved, tired, happy, sad, a mix of emotions. So yeah, that was a little bit from a personal perspective. My experience in this World Cup. So this is a little bit the menu or what I would like to show today. I think I have already some nice and interesting information, but of course, there's always something that we'll miss. But I hope that there is information here for any kind of audience. Either you were involved in the World Cup or you just like the sport, or you are in a grass level indoor coach and you want to get some feeling about what this competition looks like, or what are some game trends, what is new, what is not new. So yeah, first of all, I ask our friend ChatGPT. Ernst, we were talking about AI just a moments ago, and
Yeah.
I thought was interesting. I thought it was an interesting start, and I guess that I'm getting too used to use ChatGPT for my professional life, or sometimes for just some help in anything. So I asked what the that he thought about the World Cup, and this was his answer, her answer, whatever ChatGPT is. So I think this is a interesting and clear summary about what this World Cup was. As you mentioned, I think was quite exotic, if you want, or quite different. That this was hosted in Croatia, which for me was, of course, very special because I support Croatia for some years. And I need to say that the organization and the event was really outstanding. And I hope this opens the door for the so-called smaller or developing nations to organize these major events from a show perspective, but from a sport development perspective as well, because I think this is known, but indoor for me is very special. For me, it's a sport that has so much potential in so many aspects that I hope in a different world, FIA and the governing bodies see the opportunity we have here. So that was just a short introduction. And now a couple of simple general aspects about this World Cup. Starting from some tournament stats. This is concerning the women's side, which I need to say I wasn't I wasn't so I wasn't so much aware or so much paying attention. Although I was in event and I once in a while watched some matches. Of course, my focus was and is in the men's side. But if you see here the group stage, the final rankings in the group stage, it is clear that the Europe has a certain dominance in this sport, not only in terms of participating countries, but also in terms of rankings. And I think in the men, you see the pattern. And of course, here it is special that you have the pool A where you have three European, I would say, strong countries. And you can call it the group of death, which unfortunately for us, Croatia was the group where we landed. But you see again that Europe is normally the strongest team. They have the strongest teams in the pools, with the exception from South Africa, which was really a refreshing and fantastic team. I think we can talk a little bit ahead of that. So these are the final standings. And again, besides South Africa in the woman, you see both top five are dominated by Europe. which you can interpret this or you can analyze this as you want. Of course, in Europe, particularly in the north of Europe, hockey, indoor hockey has a very special place. I wish that in the future, this variation or this sport, because maybe, and I know, Ernst, sometimes you have some challenging thoughts about that. Maybe indoor hockey should become independent, because why not? One,
Yes.
and two, to be honest, it's a bit suffocated by so many other aspects. But we could have one entire hour to talk about that, and maybe I challenge you for that. But yeah, that again, you see Europe, Northern Europe, clearly dominating the sport and the final standings here. Then there are two, I would say, two main rules on this World Cup. One is the trapping. I have a small clip about the trapping, which is always a very polemic situation in indoor hockey, and now FIH found an alternative to try to avoid this trapping. Trapping is basically when the players are stuck in the corners. I don't particularly like this trapping rule by FIH, because it invites umpires to coach a lot and to instruct a lot, and I always find it strange when the rules put the umpires in a situation where they need to be very vocal, or they need to say, hey, you should play there, or there is free. I always think that it's counter-natural somehow, because I think the rules themselves should create situations where the players can take the decisions and can use the rules. And right now, it feels a bit weird where when we are in a situation where the umpire says, hey, you should play there, or it's free there. How to solve it? Probably with some time pressure, probably with a different approach. I'm also not the best rule kind of guy. I like to break the rules, not to make them. Yeah, but just a thought here. The other one is now FIH made it that every player involved in the penalty corner defense should use the helmets, which I also have my big question marks, particularly for our first runners. And once again, when we take so strong decisions like this, I would like to see the reports that indicate safety and well-being concerns about this, because I think I never saw a first runner taking a ball in its face. But I suppose, or I want to believe, that these kind of decisions are taken in consideration, analyzing and taking reports about, let's say, high-level competitions. That's another story. And what
You're
also
very
strikes me,
generous.
yeah, I'm very generous, maybe. I'm getting political, and maybe
Yes.
I'm getting political, yeah. I think what's also weird is you cannot take such a decision, I don't know, 2 weeks, 1 week before a World Cup, which strikes me as a bizarre measure. But yeah,
Yes.
we move forward. This is an example of about a trapping situation. I will let it roll. So the Argentinian gets trapped, but the German player here in pink is able to intercept the ball and makes a goal, because this is not considered a trapping, because it's a 1-against-1 situation. There is a free channel, so the opponent, the German player, is able to intercept, and this is a legal goal. So this is a situation that you may say that is cause or consequence from this new rule somehow. Then I would like to show you a little bit of an inside look from our team, Croatia. I will move to another presentation. I will go quickly here because it's an extended presentation, just to give some context. This was an extended presentation we did about South Africa. This is not our game plan, but this is because we didn't play against South Africa, so we And we had some days in anticipation, some free days. So we wanted to give our players a larger picture about South Africa, an extended presentation. So I will show you how will that look like. So we just give some general points about South Africa, some general information, some key players, what are their main defensive systems, what they look like, what would be important for us to start to create a mind frame about the game. I think for us in our process before the World Cup, I think it was very important for our players to become more effective in our attacking process. We work a lot in that, and also I think goes without saying for anyone that is following indoor hockey. Indoor hockey is a game with a lot of I say it, mini games inside of the game. So there are a lot of momentums of 1.5 minute, 2 minutes where things can change from a moment to the other. And what is important is that the teams or the better teams are the teams that can read the momentums. So their own bad momentums or their own good momentums or the opponent momentums. So I think for us, one thing that was clear is that if we realized that we had a momentum or we needed to break a momentum, alternating our defensive system, so saying from going to zonal to man-on-man, was something that we like to use and helped us to refocus again. So I will try to be brief here. This is South Africa they have two main defensive systems. So a zonal where we call the dice, so a very classic zonal system. They also came from dice to a blind press, and they also had a man-on-man system, although that was not their standard system. So then we would show some clips to our teams from South Africa. South Africa here plays in green against Namibia on an African tournament. I will not show everything, so I can go a little bit brief because there is a lot of information to go still. We also saw that in their zonal system, they had a blind press, and you can see here. So that offers some opportunities. And then they also played on a man-on-man. So we wanted to show this. And of course, this was a presentation where we had some time with our players. This was three days before the beginning of the competition. So we had a bit more time and we made it a bit more extended. So this was our main setup against South Africa. We are the blue circles. They are the green the green shape. And this was our main idea against their dice. We call it dice. What if they press? We had two ideas. One where we fix our midfielder between their two strikers and we try that they didn't. We try to hold their press, or we go for a standard tree build up where when they press, we have a way to break their strikers press. This is their main build up pattern. This is so simple, but I just want to show you because we still want to make it as simple as possible for our players. And we show them some examples of their build-up. We talk about some details, about some key players, and about some specific individual routines. This is our defensive systems. We call it shield, which is a classic zonal system. When we build up against six, this is our main pattern. This is the main pattern we wanted to use against South Africa. And then we show how they behave when we play against a player. So when the opponent takes the goalkeeper, we showed how they defend about that and how we want to defend with one extra player. So this is just to show you. Then we show we have a lot of penalty corners for them, and we go in details. We have also a separate session with our goalkeepers also on that. So just to give, I think, the people that are watching a little bit of an inside look about how deep we can go in terms of looking to the opponents, in terms of in-depth analysis, individual analysis, how we do with our penalty corners. We send all the penalty corners from the opponents to our team. They can analyze themselves. We have a separate session with the goalkeepers, etc., etc. In the end, if there's any question about that, I will be happy to answer. Now, I try to summarize a couple of game trends or confirmations, but also some general observations. So in terms of game trends, the evolution of backhand last year, and we did a presentation. I did a presentation with you about that, about how important and yeah, how common is the backhand now in every aspect: defending, passing, shooting, intercepting. And I think this World Cup confirms that. I think if you look about the goalkeepers, because in these indoor presentations, I normally have this question from the audiences. There's like, hey, do you like goalkeepers that stand out, that play as an extra defender? And the modern hockey nowadays, you don't see goalkeepers that stand out as a field player, as an extra field player. Although you see, I call it quiet, so goalkeepers that stay in the goal area, although more athletic and more explosive. I think the old days for just your fatty goalkeeper that doesn't like to run out, doesn't like to play out, they are gone. I would say because the shootouts and the penalty corners now require quite some explosion from the goalkeepers, and we can see that later. I think this was one of the highlights from this tournament. I call it this spoon shots, and we will see a couple of video examples about that, both in field, but particularly in penalty corners, like this kind of shoot technique where the player can go a little bit around the goalkeeper. And then something that is very visible now at every team, regardless, every team has two defensive systems, or at least one main system and one variation in that system. And before, that wasn't the case. Some teams, they have one defensive system. They were very competent on that. They focus on that and they play the entire match on that. And now that's not really the case. So it makes it a bit more work for the coaches to analyze, right? And then maybe an important point here, which I think coaches will recognize, that is, there is a physical paradox between man on man and zone. And what I mean with this is, and you have many nations that say, okay, we have maybe 7, 6 top players. We want to use them a lot. So we will have a zonal system where they can survive longer, right? That's the thought. That is the immediate thought, that if we don't play man on man, we can have our best players a long time in the pitch. What happens is, or what real life tells us is, when we do that, we overload our best players with 30 to 36, 7 minutes in the pitch, and that is really killing. So our immediate idea that maybe says, yeah, if we play zonal, we can have the players, we can rest them, and they can be in the match longer. It's actually real life tell us something different, that when we play zonal and we keep them, our best players, so long in the match, we are killing them physically. So I just want to present this paradox here between the preconceived idea that man on man is way more demanding in terms of physical load versus zone. So might not be literally like that. And then just this tendency of this, I call it defensive walls, where you have like a running wall, which means 2 or 3 players running out in the penalty corner. I think this is like a clear tendency now, and I will show you something about that later. So start with the backhand power. Ernst, you still with me? The connection is still good. You can see everything.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
We're
Cool,
seeing a
just
black
checking.
screen right now. But
Yeah, right. So I'm just showing here a really superb goal, but just I will show it again. I hope everybody could see it. I think my friend Nick and my friend Vuki were really flabbergasted or amazed by this goal. I think everybody was. A small anecdote here that I hear a lot of coaches, particularly in the youth ages, they always say to the players to avoid to play with the backhand and don't play with the left side and so on. And I think that's really something from the past. And if you say that, and the modern game went in a completely different direction, that you need to be really competent both with the backhand and the forehand. And I think this goal illustrates that. Now I want to show something what I call about this spoon shot. Again, I will show it hopefully a little bit in slow motion. This stepping movement where you really displace the goalkeeper, and that was used a lot. I will show it again. This is Mustafa Kassim from South Africa. And the funny or sad thing about this is that you know this is going to happen. You prepare the team. Everybody knows it. Everybody's expecting, but still, it's very difficult to stop that. And I would say that there is a kind of a new shooting technique. Here again in the field play situation, this kind of reaching out and a spoon kind of technique out of your body projection to the front. So I think what is interesting here, but also here, sorry, in this one, you can see the way that Mustafa shoots and really projects his body on that. So there is a full body transfer of energy there. And you can say that is like an innovative drag flicking technique. Okay, we move forward. Well, this is another angle from the same shot. You can see how much catapult kind of effect there is in this shot. Now we go to the double wall, to the defending penalty corner. You see this is Poland defending, and you can see a double wall running out. This is Argentina. You see here, this is very common. We have this double wall running side to side. This is a better angle. But here we see a kind of a, we call it a triple wall. So you have three running players side to side, although here the Argentinian players are not the three of them, not really side to side, but you see, and this is, I think, a confirmation of a trend for this World Cup, this double or triple walls, a different kind of angle here. And I think here is very visible a triple wall, so three players running next to each other together with the goalkeeper. And I think here I did in my previous presentation for the European, I went a bit further in detail here, but what you can see in contrary to the outdoor, where you see a lot of the hot scoring areas are actually more near the goalkeeper area because there are a lot of rebounds and a lot of tip-ins and also a lot of deflection from penalty corners. But in indoor hockey, I would call the hot scoring area, it's somewhere around the top of the circle in field play, but of course also in terms of penalty corners. And I have here a really cool example. This is the first goal in a World Cup ever for Croatia. And I would say, what a goal. This is our opening goal against South Africa in our first match. And again, you see two interesting aspects here. Top of the circle is one aspect here. Not many people in terms of crowding the circle, which is important to give us some space. A rolling technique where I eliminate the left glove from the South African. If I would be the South African coach, I would say for sure to this defender, you should be with a stronger left glove. you should give one step away because you have no visibility of the ball. You allowed at this level, you allowed rolling shots and fantastic goal, and you have a couple of these goals during the World Cup, and it's really cool to see these examples. Now, some general observations as I try to move further before Ernst tells me that I start to get a bit sensitive on the time, but I think we are good, Ernst.
Yeah, we're good.
Some general observations in terms of the World Cup. I think there is a clear Northern European dominance in this sport, which you can tell me it's normal. Every sport has a region or a continent that has a bit more dominance, and in indoor hockey is clearly Europe. I hope we go to a future where there are other countries breaking in. I think South Africa and Namibia gave us a really cool, really cool impression about how much these countries like and embrace
We
indoor
had
hockey.
Iran in the past.
Also Iran. I would say that Iran, fantastic, exotic, refreshing. Now I would say that it's still the same generation. I don't know the reality in the country. I would hope that they can have a transition in generation because you see a lot of familiar faces for many years already. Still amazing guys, legends, real legend of the game. But time hopefully for a new Iran to stunt the world as they did before.
Yes.
I would say Australia also really cool, really cool. They lost in shootouts to Austria, which tells you something. I would imagine that it's not easy for Australia to develop in the region they are. And of course, I would wish Argentina also very good. And then you miss USA in men and women. Women were there, a lot of talent there. I would say, personal opinion, and as you know, I don't mind to say some opinions. I would say United States women with a little bit of a tactical maturity, they could go a long way because they have unreal players, unreal skill. And as far as I know, indoor hockey in US in terms of college, in terms of youth, it's quite something.
Yes.
So there's always this feeling if US embraces hockey or indoor hockey, something special could happen. And I wish that that's the case. So yeah. Well, I said it already. I think South Africa in men was something cool, man. Was something refreshing, something attacking, not so pragmatic as our European style. Going for one-on-one, going for, if you have a 50-50, 10-centimeter gaps, they would go for it. If there is a feeling that they can shoot on goal, they shoot on goal. And that made it, for me, they were the coolest and the most refreshing team in the tournament by far. They were very different. And I think, don't be surprised if this team, they were already third place, they already got the bronze, and if they keep on progressing, hey, watch out with these guys. Yeah, then I make this analogy where Germany is a little bit of what the United States are in the basketball, because they have the NBA of indoor hockey, right? The German league is the best league in the world by far, by far. They play 4 times 15 minutes, which gives a head advantage to every other team, to every other club of 20 minutes more per match, besides being higher level matches than any other league. Austria gets maybe a little bit close, but not in the moment. So the German players not only play against the best players in the world, but they play 20 minutes plus per match. So that makes it a little bit of a comparison with what the United States are in the basketball. Although I think the disadvantage for Germany is that maybe they don't have a nice preparation as other national teams because they don't have so much time to prepare their national team as a team. But so I just wanted to drop that thought provoking here. And to finish, I made a little bit of all-star or my selection of the players that for me were the most outstanding from everything I saw, from the players I liked the most. I start with the goalkeepers. Difficult to bring one or two. Um, yeah, you pick your favorite. They were all fantastic, in my opinion. All very decisive for their team. All a big reason, big part of their teams performing so well. Uh, I don't have a favorite here, to be honest. I'm a fan of all of them. I just met or just discovered Colin. I hope I'm pronouncing well. Colin de Jager, the South African goalkeeper. I just discovered them during this World Cup, and yeah, amazing. Defensive stars. Old faces for me besides Jethro, the South African players. I also just discovered him now during this World Cup. My bad, maybe my bad, but he was a big part of South Africa performance, brought them a lot of stability, defensive stability, a lot of criteria in the build-up. So well done. And then Nikola is I'm an old fan from him, right back from Poland. Anton is also a defender that I like a lot, and I thought he was very stable in the championship. And then I push one of my Croatian boys here. I think Zets was a little bit of an outsider here because we didn't finish in the top positions, but I think he made an outstanding performance, and he was when we played really well and when we did something special, he was a big part of that. Attacking stars, yeah, attacking is even more difficult for me because I wanted to include a couple of more players here. All outstanding players, really special players. In any other sport, these guys would be world known, popular with hundreds of thousands of followers. They would be stars, and not yet. I hope they will be one day when indoor hockey become the thing, the sport. But yeah, difficult to talk. Very a brief comment by everyone. I think Austria lost Korper, but got in Lozonci. They got a new Korper or new striker for the coming years. A cold blood striker. Fabian doesn't need any introduction. Is maybe the most influential player of the last 7-8 years in the game. This guy is an encyclopedia, is a masterclass of indoor hockey, defending, attacking, reading the game, penalty corner, you name it. He knows everything about the game, and he changes the game, actually. Ben is a special kid for me. I trained him for some months when he was 14, 15, and seeing the unbelievable striker he became now is really good. I think he was the one of the players of the tournament for sure. Mustafa Kasim is, I think I'm being very generous about all my compliments here, but this kid is out of this world. This is something different. And as you know, Ernst, I spend my life watching hockey, watching players, and I told you this is a one in a generation player, and I hope we can see a lot and we can entertain ourselves a lot with him. And then Simar is also a phenomenon, because if you have this guy in a tournament, you know that he will probably be the top scorer. So yeah, very special player, fantastic player. And then Jadzinski here, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, is also one of the world-class strikers of the game nowadays. And I'm thankful to all these guys because they make my sport more exciting, more beautiful, and I think they were outstanding during this tournament. And I always like to mention some names and to bring it up during the championship. And that's it for me. I think I brought a lot. I hope it was entertaining. I hope it was insightful. And yeah, and I think I've done it for today.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a cool that was a cool presentation. Obviously,
I will stop
Bernardo.
sharing, okay?
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Very cool presentation, and always excited to hear the enthusiasm in your voice when you're talking about indoor hockey. Love the sport as well, but yeah, sometimes you have to make choices. So I haven't watched a lot of indoor hockey from the recent World Cup, but because there's been so much hockey in the recent weeks and months. But always cool to hear the enthusiasm when you're talking about indoor hockey. Um, Coaches, now is the time for you to bring this chat to life with your questions. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have some remarks yourselves about the indoor World Cup that you would like to share with us, now is the time to do it in the comments here below, so that we can bring you on. Um, Already a question then from me, Bernardo, to start off with, and what are the, let's say, three takeaways that I should bring to my team indoor hockey as a coach from what I've seen here in the indoor World Cup.
Uh, uh, so much, so much, so many things. Let me think. I think I will go for general and then to specific. I would say I was very inspired by the South African team, and I felt somehow, man, we are losing a little bit of this creativity they are showing now. And I know this is a whole discussion like creativity versus structure, what we want, what the adult game asks. But I think it's easier to bring creative, skilled players into structure later on,
Hmm.
and it's more difficult to breed this kind of a wilder mindset where I can go in a one against one, or I do something creative because I feel it's cool and because it can work. And if it
Hmm.
works, it's outstanding and it's also effective, it's functional. So I would say maybe the first one is let's stimulate creativity and push the kids to go for fantasy, to go for dribbling, to go for things that entertain them and it's fun also for them. And then let's decrease the need for structure and defending and the goal and the result. And I know it's a difficult balance. That's one for sure. Um, I would say uh, I think penalty corners are now so fundamental, and I mean fundamental because it's not so easy to score. Because the defensive strategies are getting more competent, the players are getting more athletic, the players are quicker, the goalkeepers are getting so good and so explosive as well. That was my point about the athleticism from the goalkeepers.
Hmm.
So yeah, focus on the penalty corner because that one goal that you save or that one goal that you score will really make the difference in the tournament or in the match. Um, and then I would go maybe something that is very kind of a trademark for me. It's this backhand world that is one, the backhand,
Yeah.
but the left glove. I
Yeah.
make two, there are two differences here in indoor. That is a pure backhand defense, but how important is that you have a wide left glove, because sometimes that's the difference between channeling the player or blocking a dangerous passing line. So I would say as well, understand the left glove and the backhand and embrace that as a coach. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be my 3 points.
Yeah. The role of the goalie, well, has always been very important, obviously, in indoor hockey. He or she takes on a lot more active role in indoor hockey than in our regular game of outdoor hockey.
Yeah.
Although in outdoor we've seen the role of the goalie grow when we introduce shootouts. How has been the shootouts for indoor hockey? Is it the same there? Is it you need a top goalie to become a world champion? Because what I gathered is the finals were also decided upon shootouts.
I think yes, you answered because this the final the semifinals in the World Cup had shootouts, both men and women. The semifinals in the Bundesliga, in the first Bundesliga, and the finals uh, had shootouts.
Hmm.
So that answers your main question. That is how important is mega important, super
Yeah.
important. And then you need to train it a lot, and then you have goalkeepers that are normally the main goalkeeper. The tendency is that the main goalkeepers were the main shootout goalkeepers. You have sometimes goalkeepers that are a little bit more specialized in the shootouts, but it's something that we train a lot. Also, if you want to, my own example with Croatia, we put a lot of effort with our goalkeepers. We do a lot of
Hmm.
video with them, about the opponents. Um, and I think this is something you cannot go around. It's not the old thing of, hey, this is just a lottery. It's just
No.
a matter of luck. We go for that. I mean, teams are training for shootouts every training during the season, while they will only have the shootouts in the end of the season of the playoffs. Ernst,
Hmm.
I don't know if you are with me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
You are
still
with me.
here. I'm
You're
I'm
right,
still
right.
here.
Yeah, right. So just to finish that point, even if you have a semifinal or possible playoff in the end of the season, teams nowadays train shootouts in the end of every training. So that tells you how important it is.
Hmm. No, absolutely. To continue with the goalie question here, we have one from Christina from Argentina, and who is a goalie herself as well. So she's enjoyed learning with you, so that's already a good start. So if you have to
Thank you,
choose a
Christina.
goalkeeper, yeah, do you prefer the aggressive one or the patient one? And do you think in taking a player and help him to achieve his potential?
I don't understand the second part of the question.
Let,
If you
let's
do you
focus on the
think
aggressive or patient
okay.
question.
Uh, with, um, I I like a more patient goalkeeper. I like I always say the calmer and the goalkeeper with the less movement the less aggressive movements the goalkeeper does. It already tells you that he is in the right spot and he knows how to position well. It's the old story, Ernst, that you always saw this. There were some crazy defenders. They were sliding, tackling everywhere, which always gives them the feeling that, oh man, this guy has such a heart. He's such a great defender. But in the end, also tells you, no, maybe he's wrong placed in the first place, right? I
Exactly.
think the goalkeepers, you can use the same analogy. The calmer the goalkeeper, the less aggressive movements, the more stable feeling for me. But maybe this is a bit of a personal taste. Could be, but I I I like it more patient goalkeeper. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Let me see, guys. Now is the time to bring your questions.
But
So if you
Ernst,
have,
I didn't understand the second part of this question, and yeah, I would like
yeah,
to answer.
me
You
neither. So
think?
Christina, if you have can explain a little bit more that second part of the question, and then we'll get back to that. Other than that, maybe can you translate what we've learned from indoor hockey to your outdoor team? How
Um,
would you do it?
I mean, when in outdoor, when you do small-sided games, there is a lot of indoor components on that, right? Because you have space pressure, time pressure, the need to take quicker decisions under pressure. Normally, the goals are closer to each other, so there is always a moment of shifting of mindset. Now we are attacking, now we are defending. So there is a lot of that. I think indoor on its own is also it fine tunes your defensive skills in terms of distance, in terms of how you engage a player, in terms of uh, body location, but also body profile when you want to defend it in a 1 against 1. So I think in indoor there's a lot, but also in terms of more detailed skill things like the way you receive a ball, the feeling with the ball, your backhand. Again, we go back to the backhand, but in the indoor, I think you develop your backhand a lot, and then you can take that for outdoor hockey. So for sure, and you see even top outdoor nations that sometimes they use indoor for a differential kind of training, differential learning.
Yep.
So yeah, I cannot be of a bigger praise for indoor and and what can brings to outdoor. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Um, eh, we touched a little bit upon the rules and the new rules that you have in indoor hockey in the beginning of your presentation. But if you can add or change or update an existing rule for indoor
Oh man.
hockey, oh boy, what would it
Oh
be?
yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, well, um, one rule is that inside of the circle, if there is a ball that is rebounding from the goalkeeper until the knee height, I would allow a one-touch shot on goal. I would allow the balls that are going until knee height anywhere in the pitch. I will allow the players to stop the ball and not wait for the ball to come down. I would maybe think about getting back to the trapping. I would maybe think about some kind of a attacking clock or a time clock for when you are inside of the circle, because I don't like when the game gets stuck there. So maybe you have a time clock for the circle when you are attacking. I would maybe go a bit wilder and think about ultra light goalkeeping gear, where your extra player can have a little bit of privileges of a goalkeeper, maybe until the waist, maybe until the waist. Um, yeah, something like that. And then you can go, we can go something a bit more specific. That is, in these tournaments, teams can only play 10 players and 2 goalkeepers, and then you have 2 reserve players that in case of illness, they can come in. But I think in these tournaments, let the teams bring 12 field players or something like that, and let them rotate during the tournament. Why not? Why not? Yeah, maybe immediate. Those are some rules that I will bring in. Yeah.
Yeah. If we talk to people who are not that into indoor hockey, or even hockey for that matter, the the one thing that often gets remarked is, yeah, why don't we have any 3D in indoor hockey? Um, what do you think it adds to indoor hockey that you do not have 3D skills?
I will make a small detour there before I answer your question, Ernst. That we talk a lot about, we need a more accessible, more easy to play format of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, and I know we talked about that in the past, for me, that would be a 6-on-6, no boarding, play it in every surface, a rubberish, a little bit a bigger ball. The ball goes a little bit high until knee height, be it. So in that perspective, go for it. And it's play it on the concrete, play it on the grass, play it in Uganda, play it on New Zealand, play it on
Play it on the beach.
Chile, on the beach, everywhere.
Yeah.
That's okay for all, everywhere, anytime, right?
Yeah.
Not this, excuse my French, shit hockey 5. That's
Yeah.
another story. Now, going to your question.
Yeah.
I think the game is so beautiful as it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have this thing in hockey as that, what can we change? What rule do you need to change? What should we implement? I mean, this game is awesome. It's sick, it's fast, it's action, goals there. Next second, you have a goal there. So we don't need to change it. And I don't need 3D. I have 3D for outdoor, which I also love it. And here, not having 3D makes it possible. All the clips I showed you, these spin shots,
Yeah.
these rolling shots, these backhand things, they only exist. And I'm so excited about that because they have a constraint, because you cannot lift the ball. Because you cannot lift the ball, it's so awesome that Kasim shoots that backhand shot. And then the captain of Croatia made this rolling shot because there was a flat stick there. So don't take me wrong against your question, but we don't need to change this. We need to show this, and we need to show, look how awesome this is. We need to have a strategy, a commercial marketing visibility strategy. We should not suffocate this sport with hockey fives and Nations League and the Pro League and then. Why?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we need to take this sport, and someone at some time will make it the sexiest sport in the world. I'm sure about that.
It
Yeah.
is already. It is already. We already had the comment here. Difficult to read now, but Tid Makovic saying thanks, Bernardo. Top job
Thank
there.
you.
So very
Thank you.
cool
Thank you.
to have this presentation with you again, Bernardo. We're not seeing many comments now here. Okay, let's one more from Christina here. So let's bring that one on. Here we go. So have you ever saw a player with big potential, but he needs more special training for high competition? Um, or do you always take someone who's already very skilled?
Um,
Can you develop the top international player? Probably, huh? Is the question.
um, I think Ernst, in if you think about high performance, so now we were talking about indoor high performance, right? I think everywhere grassroots, you go for simple, right? And then you go to complex, and then you go back to simple.
Mhm.
It is like this, right? So if you talk about these players, we are talking about high skilled players. But I would say to Christina, I'm not sure if I'm answering the question, but I think, can you develop in terms of skill a high level player? For sure, for sure, for sure. I think that requires a high level coach, I would say, because that's a coach that needs to see some technical details that are still can come on top of that. But I think you can, and I think if you are a high level player, you want that as well, right? You are still open and you are still eager to, okay, I'm not doing the best here, or I think this is the area where I can improve. So I would say overall, yes, you can improve a high level player. Um, but then maybe I would also like to say that you go for very simple in your life as an athlete and as a coach, and then you go to very complex, and then you go to very simple again. You try to simplify, and then you go one, two ideas, one, two details, and that's it, right?
Exactly, exactly. Okay, guys, we are going to wrap it up here. We have had a very interesting talk, and we learned a little bit more again about the exciting game of the indoor hockey game from Bernardo here. So, Bernardo, thanks for sharing the insights here, sharing the knowledge with us. Always cool to have you talk about the game of indoor hockey. So. But next week we are back with well, no, this week even. So this Friday we are back with another workshop on the regular outdoor game of hockey. Indoor is going back into, well, it's not a hibernation because it's not the winter, but into a
Kind of.
sleep mode until we revive it in the months of November, December again with a new season. So it will be cool. Well, we'll still have some games left here and there, but most of the people are going back to the outdoor game of hockey, as are we this Friday with another workshop by Russell Coates. So looking forward to
Yeah.
that. Bernardo, thank you very much. Thank you, coaches, for joining us. Thank you, Christina, for your questions here. Um, looking forward to another session with you next year when there are some new lessons to be learned from the world of indoor hockey, Bernardo. Thanks
Thank
and bye
you,
bye,
Ernst.
everybody.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Ciao, ciao.